Look at your reflection and ask yourself why the air in the room feels thin. In 2026, the Matrix has sold you a fairy tale about equality and unconditional love, but your biology is screaming a different truth. Social intelligence is the currency of the hierarchy. If you aren't rising, you are sinking, and your relationships are the first thing to catch the scent of your decay. Your status is not a static number in a bank account. It is a vibrating frequency of authority that dictates how much space you are allowed to occupy in the minds of others. When your status drops, your resource weight vanishes, and you become a ghost in your own home. You think you are being kind by being passive, but you are actually committing hierarchical suicide. Respect is not a gift. It is a biological tax that others pay to a unit they perceive as a master of the vector. If you aren't projecting dominance, you are projecting an invitation for colonization. The stench of the subordinate is a physical reality. It manifests in the way you wait for permission to speak, the way you modulate your voice to avoid conflict, and the way you prioritize the comfort of others over the expansion of your empire. Your partner's ancient scanning system is constantly measuring your energy hierarchy. They are looking for the Vojak, leader, the one who provides the primal grounding for the pack. When they see you vibrating at the frequency of a service unit, their instinctive respect for you evaporates. This is the leadership gap. It isn't filled with words or flowers. It is filled by the return of your edge. You have dissolved into the interests of the collective, and in doing so, you have authorized your own obsolescence. A man without a separate, aggressive vector is a man without a future, and no one, not your partner, not your friends, and certainly not the system, is interested in a dead-end road. You must understand the visual rage of your own disappearance. Look at your schedule. How much of it belongs to your vision? Look at your workspace. Is it a citadel of intent or a graveyard of domestic noise? If you are a guest in your own life, you have no social intelligence. True intelligence in the social arena is the ability to dictate the geometry of the room. It is the color of freedom, the absolute certainty that you can walk away because your value is generated within your own citadel, not granted by the approval of the herd. To reclaim your status, you must first reclaim your sovereign autonomy. You must become a separate nation with a border that carries a cost. Until you are willing to be uncomfortable and difficult for the sake of your expansion, you are just high-level maintenance personnel for the lives of others. The achievement code demands that you stand apart. Only the ice that is separate from the water can crush the ship. Status is not about what you say. It is about the physics of your presence. In the high-stakes world of the architect, hierarchy is determined by the vector of absolute certainty. When you walk into a room, every biological unit within that space is subconsciously instantly scanning for the alpha vector. They are not looking for the person with the most certificates. They are looking for the unit who owns the space. If you enter with the service protocol, shoulders slightly slumped, eyes seeking validation, voice modulated for accommodation, you have already authorized your own subordination. You have signaled that you are a resource unit, looking for a direction unit to tell you what to do. You have essentially volunteered to be the building material for someone else's vision. To close the authority gap, you must immediately implement the visual rage protocol. This has nothing to do with being angry. It is about the cold, focused intensity of a predator who has already decided the outcome. Look at Lucky and Tyson. When they encounter a stranger, they don't look for friendship. They scan for intent and hierarchy. They respect the unit that doesn't blink, the unit that moves with a heavy primal grounding, and the unit that doesn't waste metabolic energy on meaningless social fluff. You must do the same. You must strip away the social noise of your behavior. Stop the over-explaining. Stop asking for a moment of someone's time. Stop apologizing for being the expert. Every apology is a leak in your resource dome. Authority is a zero-sum game of attention. If you allow others to dictate the geometry of the interaction, where you stand, when you speak, how long you are allowed to present, you are a guest in your own life. Use the tactical silence, the intentional vacuum of power that forces others to reveal their weakness and their need for direction. When you do speak, your voice must carry the weight of the glacier. It must be slow, focused, resonant, and final. You are not contributing to the discussion. You are issuing the verdict. This fundamental change in your metabolic frequency will trigger an immediate recalibration in everyone around you. They will stop seeing you as a technical asset and start seeing you as a system operator who manages the reality. The authority gap is closed the moment you realize that your competence is merely the ammunition, but your presence is the weapon. Project the color of freedom, the absolute bone-deep deep certainty that you can walk away from any deal, any job, or any relationship because you are the source of the value. Once they realize that you do not need their approval to exist or to succeed, they will begin to beg for your leadership. You become the anchor point of the room. This is not a social skill. It is a biological takeover. You are rearranging the hierarchy through the sheer mass of your intent. The Matrix has embedded a subordinate code into the very structure of your language, and you are likely using it every day without realizing how it drains your power. You use words like hopefully, maybe, I think, and if that's okay with you. This is the language of the renter. It signals to the system and everyone in it that you are a temporary, insecure occupant of your position, waiting for someone with real power to evict you. The architect uses the language of the owner. He doesn't hope for results. He calculates the outcome. He doesn't suggest a path. He authorizes the vector. To reclaim your authority and bridge the gap between your skill and your status, you must perform a total linguistic disinfection. You must purge every single word from your vocabulary that implies you are seeking permission or that you are uncertain of your territory. This decoding must extend to your information hygiene. A subordinate provides data and options to their superior, hoping the superior will make the right choice. A sovereign unit provides directions and deadlines. When you provide options to a boss or a client, you are inviting them to be the architect of the decision. You are handing over your power on a silver platter and asking them to lead you. You must stop being a provider of choice and start being the source of the solution. This is the algorithm of the verdict. You present the reality as it is. You present the only viable path forward, and you initiate the execution immediately. If the system resists or hesitates, you do not plead or negotiate your worth. You withdraw your resource. You make the system feel the physical log of decay that occurs the moment your competence is removed from the machine. You teach them through absence, not through argument. Authority is built on the foundation of strategic scarcity. If your competence is always available, always free, and always happy to help, it has the market value of common air. You must create a resource dome around your skills and your time. You only deploy them when you have the authority to execute and the freedom to lead. This is how you bridge the gap. You move from being the mechanic who fixes the broken parts to being the engineer of the system who decides which parts are worth keeping. You stop worrying about being liked and start focusing entirely on being indispensable. In the world of 2026, likability is a cheap commodity for the masses. Authority is the high-value currency of the elite. Your dogs don't like you because you are nice. They respect you because you are the anchor of order and the source of the hunt. Apply this primal grounding to your professional and personal life. Stop seeking the yes from others and start being the absolute yes for yourself. Your words should be bricks, not smoke. When you speak, the world should feel the weight of your ownership. This is the final, non-negotiable command of the social intelligence protocol. You must become the sole judge of your own reality. The status gap exists solely because you have delegated the approval of your life to outside entities, bosses, partners, or the faceless social collective. You are waiting for a certificate of existence that will never come from the matrix. The architect knows that the only authority that carries any weight is the one he grants himself in the silence of the citadel. You must look at the physical log of decay in the world around you, the crumbling institutions, the indecisive leaders, and realize that the current authorities are mostly frauds and biobatteries. They are not stronger than you. They are just more comfortable with the vector of command. To bridge the gap once and for all, you must commit a radical act of internal coup d'etat. You must overthrow the good student within you and install the architect of expansion on the throne of your mind. This means taking 100% responsibility for your results, but also taking 100% control over your methods. You stop asking, is this allowed? And you start asking, does this serve the expansion? This is the collar of freedom in its final form. When you operate from this state of self-authorization, you become a disruptive force that the matrix cannot digest. You are no longer predictable. You are no longer manageable. You are a sovereign unit in the field, and the system has no choice but to negotiate with you on your own terms. Your social intelligence is now a weapon of precision, used to carve out your empire from the noise of the masses. The insight tax for this final transmission is the mandatory destruction of your subordinate habits. You must go out into your world today and authorize something that you previously felt you needed permission for. Reclaim a piece of territory, issue a final verdict, set an unbreakable boundary, start the viral infection of authority in your own life. Show the world that the leadership gap is closed because the leader has finally arrived. Your stallions, Lucky and Tyson, are watching you. They don't need a servant. They need a commander of the hunt to lead them to new territories. Do not fail the millions of years of biology that has waited for this exact moment for you to finally take the lead. You are the architect. The world is your construction site, and and you are the only one with the blueprints. Expansion or death. The gap is closed. The vector is set. The architect is in absolute command. Report in the comments. Authority seized. Verdict issued. The expansion is live. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The world is yours to authorize and build as you see fit. There is no more room for politeness in the zone of total conquest. Your silence is the vacuum that draws in the capital. Your action is the ice that crushes the old structures. The hunt is the only truth left in 2026.